For our project, we decided to look into rehab for Native American substance abuse.
Some reasoning why we decided to go with this topic is the effects COVID has had on alcoholism this past year. Ironically, Americans being put into isolation during the pandemic has created even more of motivation to drink, and it's really just prompted by loneliness. And when we look at typical Western rehab, it's taking this alcoholic away from your family and putting them somewhere to get better and then placing them back in the home. So we kind of thought it was interesting learning that Native American specific rehab, they stick together and they really value community. So we thought it was very interesting and worth looking into more how sticking together during rehab could be beneficial. And then we also noticed that alcoholism was a strong and recurring theme in Native American literature. It was really interesting to learn that it's casual for younger children to drink at really young ages, whereas we're not legally allowed to start drinking until we're 21 years old.
Our literary connection we decided to choose was the book There by Tommy Orange. And we decided to look into this book for our project because there's a character, Thomas Frank, in the novel that struggled with alcohol abuse. And we noticed in the book that one of the ways he coped and tried to get better was using drumming as an outlet to help him distract himself from alcohol abuse, and it made him feel at peace and it helped him through the struggle in the time being.
So kind of analyzing the drumming scene where he's really feeling purpose and peace is, so he was extremely passionate about drumming and not just because of the idea that it's his culture. It really did give him temporary peace, and the overall positive presence of drumming in There proves to readers that there are certain healing techniques and traditions that this culture has that others may not be able to rely on because it's not part of their culture. So drumming, for example, is seen as more of a healing act rather than hobby that brought Thomas to a place of spiritual peace. So Bobby does ask Thomas if he is still drinking, and Thomas responds that he's doing better, and Bobby shares his opinion by saying it's not enough to just feel good. You need to drum to feel good, and that it's okay, and it's part of the tradition, but it also can be more than just the tradition.
Also, Bobby was the one who invited Thomas to come drum with them during the powwow, but Bobby didn't think of it as a favor. He just he enjoyed Thomas's drumming and singing, but little did he know that by inviting him to come drum with them really helped him try and stray away from his alcohol abuse, and it was helping him with the form of rehab.
And then, so just some statistics of Native American substance abuse from the 2018 National Survey on Drug Use and Health. So compared to other ethnic groups, pretty interestingly, Native Americans have the highest rate of alcohol and substance abuse, and it also starts at younger ages. So 1 in 5 young adults, 18 to 25 years old, abuse substances, and then 10% of Native Americans have a substance abuse disorder, 25% of Native Americans report binge drinking. So there's just a lot of numbers and research that prove kind of the point that Tommy Orange was making with this book.
So why this specific treatment is so important is because for Native Americans, their culture is seen as a preventative force when it comes to outside forces. And possibilities of coping with the new American-based culture lifestyles is likely to be with more alcohol. By bringing a native's alcoholic's roots back to the surface, or even teaching them about their culture for the first time, there is proven to be feelings of increased hope and optimism.
All All right, and then so there's just some concrete differences between typical Western rehab and then Native American focused rehab. You have focus on isolation, as we said earlier, whereas the specific Native American focuses on community. And then personal initiative based versus spiritually based. Relying on tribal ceremonies are more of a Native American focused rehab, whereas we really just focus on alcoholics' will to change how they are and personally bettering themselves rather than having faith in culture. And then lastly, we have the AA meetings versus rituals such as powwows, drum circles, sweat lodges, as seen through Thomas Hank is drumming mainly.
In our further research, we found that across the United States, there is a growing number of rehab centers specifically for Native Americans, and in this link is a bunch of information about Native Americans and statistics about alcohol abuse and different rehab centers across the United States.
We're excited.